The service elevator smelled of bleach and leftover lunch service. Around me, actual catering staff bustled with trays and ice buckets, none of them realizing that the woman in the simple black channel dress was signing their paychecks. "First time working the penthouse?" a young server asked kindly, noting my hesitation. "Something like that." I adjusted my understated pearl necklace, the same one I'd worn while signing the deal that acquired this hotel chain last year. "The Ashworths are brutal," she whispered, "especially the daughter. Already sent 3 servers crying to the kitchen." Ah yes, my future daughter-in-law, Victoria Ashworth, who, according to the society pages, was marrying self-made investment banker Michael Chen, while carefully omitting any mention of his self-made mother. The kitchen was chaos incarnate. In the center, Victoria stood in a designer dress that probably cost more than my first year's salary, back when I actually earned a salary. No. She was berating a trembling pastry chef. I specifically said the macarons must match the exact shade of rose gold in the centerpieces. "Is there a problem?" I asked mildly. Victoria spun around, her perfectly highlighted hair swishing. "Who are you? Where's your uniform?" "Jessica Chen, Michael's mother." I watched recognition flash across her face, followed quickly by disdain. "Oh yes, Michael mentioned you might come early to help." She looked me up and down. "The staff entrance was supposed to direct you to the kitchen." "They did an excellent job," I said, enjoying her confusion at my lack of embarrassment. Though I admit, I expected to be greeting guests with my son. Victoria's mother, Margaret Ashworth, chose that moment to sweep in. I recognized her from the society magazines she so frequently graced, usually while announcing another donation from her husband's family fortune. "Vicky, darling, the guests are arriving, and oh," her smile could have frozen champagne, "you must be Michael's mother." The pause was deliberate, designed to wound. 15 years ago, it might have. Now it just amused me. "Mrs. Ashworth," I nodded. "Lovely venue. The recent renovations really brought out the original architecture." "Yes, well," she waved dismissively. "The new owners spared no expense, though I preferred the previous management. They understood our standards." I bit back a smile, remembering the previous owner's desperate pitch to keep the property. They hadn't understood that Jessica Chen, the quiet Asian woman in their boardroom, wasn't just another investor. "Mother," Victoria cut in, "shouldn't we discuss the seating? Given the situation." "Of course, darling." Margaret's smile turned saccharine. "Mrs. Chen, we've arranged a lovely spot for you in the private dining room, with the staff, so you'll be more comfortable." How thoughtful. I checked my watch, a subtle Patek Philippe that cost more than their entire event. Though I should mention, "Mom." Michael's voice carried across the kitchen. My son, handsome in his tailored suit, looked like the investment banker he was, the one whose startup capital had mysteriously appeared in his account on his 21st birthday. "Michael, darling," Victoria rushed to him. "I was just helping your mother find her place." My son's face darkened. "In the kitchen?" "Vic, we talked about this." "It's fine," I said softly. "I'm quite comfortable here." Margaret Ashworth sniffed. "Yes, well, given your background, we thought you'd prefer something less formal." Michael stepped forward, but I caught his eye. The slight shake of my head was enough. He recognized my boardroom face, the one that had preceded the fall of dozens of presumptuous CEOs. "Perhaps," I said, "we should focus on the party. The guests must be arriving." Right on cue, the elevator dinged. The first wave of Manhattan's elite emerged, all air kisses and subtle power plays. I watched Victoria and Margaret work the room, their practiced charm never quite reaching their eyes. "Mom," Michael murmured, "you don't have to put up with this. One word from you and—" "And what?" I straightened his tie. "Let them know that the help they're so desperate to hide actually owns the building. Where's the fun in that?" He tried not to smile. "You're enjoying this." "Immensely." I patted his cheek. "Go, be the perfect future son-in-law. I'll be fine in my little kitchen corner." As the party swelled, I watched the dynamics unfold. Victoria's father, Theodore Ashworth IUI, holding court with his country club cronies. Margaret subtly shepherding eligible debutantes away from her precious daughter's fiancé. And Victoria herself playing the role of society princess while shooting nervous glances at the kitchen. More champagne, madam? The same kind server from earlier appeared at my elbow. Thank you, Claire. I read her name tag. How long have you worked here? 3 years, she said. Though we're all nervous about the new ownership, there are rumors about changes coming. Good changes, I assured her. Better benefits, for one, and a policy against guest abuse of staff. She blinked. How would you know that? Before I could answer, Theodora Ashworth's booming voice cut through the crowd. And where is the mother of the groom? Surely she's not too intimidated to join us. The room quieted. Victoria looked stricken. Margaret's face pinched like she'd bitten a lemon. I stepped out of the kitchen, glass in hand. Not intimidated at all, Mr. Ashworth. Just appreciating your daughter's excellent taste in venue. Ah, there you are. He was red-faced from scotch and self-importance. Tell us, what do you think of all this luxury? Quite a step up from your usual circumstances, I imagine. The room held its breath. Even Michael stayed silent, recognizing my game face. Actually, I said, taking a deliberate sip of champagne, I find the penthouse quite comfortable. Though the East Wing renovation is running behind schedule. Something about permits, I believe. Theodore's smile faltered. How would you know about the renovations? The same way I know about the pending health code violations in the kitchen, the staff overtime disputes, and the fact that your standing reservation was nearly canceled last month due to a bounced check. The color drained from his face. Margaret stepped forward, alarmed. Who exactly are you? I smiled, channeling every Dragon Lady CEO stereotype they probably imagined. Just the help, Mrs. Ashworth. Though some people call me Ms. Chen, CEO of Global Hospitality Holdings. But you can call me your new landlord. The champagne glass Margaret was holding shattered on the marble floor. The silence that followed was worth every minute I'd spent in that kitchen. Victoria's perfect complexion had gone ghostly white, while Margaret Ashworth looked like she'd swallowed her own pearl necklace. That's impossible, Theodore sputtered. Global Hospitality is owned by JC Holdings. Everyone knows that. Indeed, I handed my empty champagne glass to a passing server. JC Holdings. Jessica Chen Holdings. I do enjoy a bit of anonymity. Keeps things interesting. Michael stepped forward, barely concealing his grin. Should I tell them about the other properties we own, Mom? The country club they're members of. The marina where they dock their summer yacht? Michael. Victoria's voice cracked. You knew, all this time. Of course he knew, I said mildly. Though I must say, watching you try to hide his embarrassing mother in the kitchen was quite enlightening. Especially given that your family's membership at the Windsor Club is up for renewal next month. Margaret grabbed her husband's arm. Theodore, do something. Yes, Theodore. I smiled. Do something. Perhaps start with explaining why your last 3 checks to the hotel have bounced. Or shall we discuss the creative accounting you've been using to maintain your lifestyle? The crowd of guests had formed a loose circle, smartphones discreetly recording every moment. Tomorrow's society pages would be interesting reading indeed. Now see here. Theodore drew himself up, defaulting to bluster. You can't just come in here and... Actually, I can. This is my hotel. I turned to Claire, the server who'd been so kind earlier. Claire, please inform the kitchen that all staff are receiving double pay for tonight's event, with a personal bonus for enduring any abuse from the hosts. Victoria stepped forward, tears threatening her perfect mascara. Michael, please. I didn't know. You have to believe me. Believe what? Michael's voice was cold. That you would have treated my mother differently if you'd known she was rich? That's actually worse, Vic. Perhaps, I suggested, we should take this discussion somewhere more private, unless you prefer to continue trending on social media. The Ashworths followed me to the private dining room, the same one they'd planned to hide me in. How deliciously ironic. What do you want? Theodore demanded once the doors closed. Money? Position on the board? I laughed. Mr. Ashworth, I own controlling interest in 3 hotel chains, 2 airlines, and yes, that country club you're so proud of belonging to. What could you possibly offer me? Then why? Margaret's voice shook. Why let us humiliate ourselves? Because you needed to learn a lesson about judgment, about treating people like they're beneath you. I met Victoria's eyes, about thinking wealth equals worth. I love Michael, Victoria whispered. This isn't about money. No, I raised an eyebrow. So you would have proudly introduced his immigrant mother to your friends. Seated the cleaning lady who raised him at the main table, posted photos with the woman who worked 3 jobs to put him through school. She looked away, answering my question without words. The irony, Michael said quietly, is that Mom hasn't cleaned houses in 20 years. But if she had, I'd still be proud to be her son. She taught me that real class has nothing to do with money and everything to do with how you treat people. Theodore collapsed into a chair, his face ashen. The membership renewals, the hotel accounts, will be reviewed, I finished, along with every interaction your family has had with my staff. I take employee welfare very seriously, Mr. Ashworth. We can explain, Margaret began. I'm sure you can. You can explain why you bounce checks while spending thousands on designer clothes, why you abuse service workers while pretending to be philanthropists. I checked my watch. You have 2 choices. Either I announce the termination of your memberships and privileges at all my properties, very publicly, right now. Or, Victoria whispered, or you spend the next year proving you can change. Starting with tonight, go back out there and personally apologize to every staff member you've mistreated. Set up a foundation, with your own money, not mine, to support service industry workers' education. Show me you learned something tonight besides the fact that you underestimated the wrong woman. Michael stepped forward. And my engagement. I watched Victoria's face crumple. For the first time, I saw something real crack through her perfect facade. That, I said softly, is between you and the woman who thought your mother wasn't good enough to sit with her guests. Victoria surprised me then. She straightened her spine, wiped her eyes, and turned to Michael. I don't deserve you. Either of you. But if you let me, I'd like to try to earn your respect. Starting with helping in that kitchen I was so ashamed of. Margaret gasped. Victoria? No, Mother. Victoria's voice strengthened. We've been wrong. So wrong. And I want to make it right. I studied her face, seeing perhaps the first genuine expression she'd worn all night. Well then, shall we return to the party? I believe you have some apologies to make. As the Ashworths filed out, thoroughly chastened, Michael caught my arm. You knew this would happen. You let them dig their own grave. Sometimes, I said, straightening his tie again, people need to see themselves clearly before they can change. Your Victoria might have potential after all. If she proves she can change, he said firmly. If she proves she can change, I agreed. Now shall we go watch the Great Ashworth Apology Tour? The transformation of the Ashworths over the next hour was better than any corporate takeover I'd ever orchestrated. Victoria, her designer dress now protected by a kitchen apron, worked alongside the staff she terrorized earlier. Margaret Ashworth, looking slightly dazed, personally served hors d'oeuvres to shocked guests. And Theodore, his face still ashen, wrote personal checks to cover his bounced payments with substantial additional gratuities. Your mother, an elderly socialite, whispered to Michael, is absolutely brilliant. We've all wanted to teach the Ashworths a lesson for years. The society pages would have a field day. Hotel QEN, REVELSID IDENTITY acts as someone's engagement party. Ashworth FAMALYQMBLED. But it was Claire, the kind server from earlier, who truly captured the moment's importance. Ms. Chen, she approached me nervously. The staff, we wanted you to know. We've worked dozens of these parties, served hundreds of wealthy people. You're the first one who ever saw us as human beings. I touched her arm gently. That's because I've been where you are. 25 years ago, I was cleaning hotel rooms while getting my business degree. Never let anyone make you feel small because of how you earn your living. Victoria appeared beside us, her perfect hair now slightly mussed. I've been horrible, haven't I? Self-awareness is a good first step, I replied. What matters is what you do next. She squared her shoulders. I'd like to start by funding scholarships for staff members who want to further their education. If you'll help me set it up properly. I saw Michael watching us, his expression thoughtful. Perhaps his instincts about her weren't entirely wrong. First, I said, you'll spend 1 month working in this hotel. Not playing at being staff for an hour, but really working. Early mornings, late nights, difficult guests. Then we'll talk about scholarships. To her credit, she didn't hesitate. When do I start? Tomorrow. 5 a.m. Wear comfortable shoes. As Victoria hurried off to tell her shell-shocked parents about her new job, Michael joined me. "You're going to make her work as hotel staff. I'm going to give her the education she desperately needs." I watched Margaret Ashworth awkwardly refill water glasses. Sometimes the best way to learn empathy is to walk in someone else's shoes. And her parents? Will have their own lessons to learn. I smiled, starting with a complete audit of their financial dealings with my properties. Bounce checks are just the beginning, I suspect. The party wound down, the guests departing with juicy gossip to spread across Manhattan's elite circles. Victoria had traded her designer heels for sensible flats borrowed from the kitchen staff, her perfectly manicured hands now slightly disheveled from actual work. Ms. Chen, she approached us. "I know I don't deserve another chance, but I promise you, I'm going to earn my place in your family, not because of your money or position, but because your son deserves someone who understands what really matters." I studied her face, seeing genuine determination beneath the smeared makeup. "You know, Victoria, 25 years ago, another society family looked down on me, said I wasn't good enough for their world. What happened to them? I bought their company, renamed it, and turned it into the foundation of my empire." I smiled. "But more importantly, I never became them. Remember that during your month of training." As we left the hotel, Michael asked quietly, "Did you plan this all along? Letting them think you were the help?" Sometimes the best way to know someone's true character is to let them think they have the upper hand. I patted his cheek. "Your Victoria might surprise us all. She's the first Ashworth to ever offer to actually work. And if she fails, then she fails. But at least she'll fail trying to be better." I looked back at the hotel, remembering the young woman who'd once cleaned these rooms while dreaming of owning them. "You know, son, sometimes the best revenge isn't showing people how powerful you are. It's teaching them why they were wrong to abuse that power in the first place." Michael hugged me tightly. "You're amazing, Mom. Thank you for letting me learn this lesson along with them." "That's what mothers do," I said simply. "We clean up messes, teach hard lessons, and occasionally buy a hotel chain or two. Now, shall we get dinner? I know a lovely little place. I just bought it last week."